Hello, welcome to this Imminent Research Grants ceremony. Imminent, as some of you know, is the research center that was founded by Translated, a company that is a sort of multinational of translations and AI. Its research center is about the imminent, the near future of the economics and cultural aspects of translation and localization. Tonight, we talk about one of the initiatives of Translated. Slides don't go up, so somebody should help me. This is the ceremony about how we are. Here we go. Sorry. The ceremony about grants that we wanted to award to researchers all over the world about 5 major topics. As you can see, there were 100,000 euros to fund researchers and language technology innovators. The main subjects were language economics, linguistics data, machine learning algorithms for translation, human-computer interaction, and neuroscience of language. This was about finding great research, wonderful people that are interested in the future of our knowledge about language, AI for language and translation and localization. And most of everything is about the symbiosis between humans and machines in order for building a future in which humans will be much more able to understand and be understood. I now leave the floor to the CEO and co-founder of Translated, Marco Trombetti, who is going to explain the why and how he thought about this idea of grants and funding research on languages. Marco?
Thank you so much, Luca, and welcome everyone to this grant ceremony. At Translated, our mission is to allow everyone to understand and be understood in their own language. And with Imminent Research Center, we're trying to accelerate our mission. The reason why we so strongly believe in the importance of language is that because probably language is the most important factor for human evolution. What we are as a human species is due to the fact that at one point, differing from all other animals or other species that just developed motor control, we developed the capacity of having complex language and interacting between each other. So comprehension brought cooperation, and cooperation brought evolution. That's why we're different, humans, from all other species. Language is truly the most important problem to solve as of today. And even if we think we can understand each other, this is extremely limited today. We can only interact with a very small amount of the population on Earth because of language barriers. We can only understand a limited portion of the internet, and we truly have only access to maybe, depending on your language, sometimes to 1%, or in the best case, if your native language is English, maybe 35% of the internet. This internet that was the greatest invention of this century is unfortunately not accessible still. And language is what, the language barrier is what prevents us from achieving this. So we truly believe that if we solve language, then we can unlock the next level of evolution for the humankind. And so for this reason, the grand ceremony is for celebrating and supporting some great researchers worldwide that are working on the topics that Luca mentioned before, that we believe can have an impact in the acceleration of solving the language problem. And so we're here to celebrate, we're here to help and support these researchers. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. Here we are, as you see, in the Fermi Center, Research Center, for this occasion, for this webinar. It is super interesting to be here, a place where complexity is studied, and of course, all we are looking into is a complex system like language and AI for languages and AI for humans that are implied in languages. We are going to now start talking about the 5 grants. Every grant is going to be 20,000 euros. We are presenting the best 3 projects, and then declare the winner for each of the 5 subjects of research. For doing so, and for the first subject, I call Sébastien Pratier to explain the 5, the first of the 5 subjects, and I give him the machine here.
The famous clicker. Thank you, Luca, for the introduction. Hi, I'm Sebastian. I'm the director of AI at Translated, and it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. I saw people greeting on the chat here. It's really great to see so many known names and new names. I'm going to tell you about the projects that we received, the finalists, and I'm going to declare the winner for each category. So we received, it was a great thing that we received so many high quality proposals. I think we received about 70 overall, and we've done a second pass, a short list with about 20 or so, and we have now chosen the winners. So let's see, I'm going to, so I don't see the slides from here, but maybe you can confirm that the first slide is showing. Yeah. So that should be the second one. No, let's see. Sorry, guys, just wading my way through the slides here. So linguistic data, yeah, let me introduce the topic maybe first of all. So linguistic data, as you know, AI is fed, machine learning is fed with data. And so in order to make machine translation and algorithms for language in general, language technology work, we need lots and lots of data. Diverse types of data, not just written language, but also speech. We need aligned data. We need monolingual and bilingual data, all sorts of it. And so the purpose of us opening this topic for research was to see what clever minds like the applicants could come up with in terms of ideas to bring this topic forward, because we know that this is going to make the future closer, the future more imminent to us. So let me then show you the first project that we received, one of the first finalists. Okay, so this is a project that we received from Kola to Bosun, together with Yoruba Names, an association that Kola co-founded. So what's this project proposal about? You see, there's one issue in the mission that we have translated, helping everyone understand and be understood, and that's with the everyone. The everyone, especially in places like Africa, where language technology is sparse, there are not many language resources. This is an issue that Kola and team want to work on. So the most spoken languages in Africa, I did some homework here, and after the Arabic dialects, if you count L1 and L2 speakers, you have Hausa, which is the most numerous one, with 77 million speakers. Then you have Swahili with 71, and you have Yoruba with 46 million speakers. And so Kola's project is about fixing the situation where there's hardly any language technology for African languages, and in particular is going to work on Yoruba. So this is obviously very important in Africa because one of the consequences of missing language technology is the high digital gap between, parts of the society. This is also an issue because in many African countries, we have a high level of illiteracy, and that means that people who would like to rely on language technology cannot. And the same goes for rates of visual impairment. Same reasoning here. And so what's the solution that Kola proposes? It's producing linguistic data, aligned voice and text resources for the Yoruba language. So very specifically in their project proposal, they're saying we want to record 50 hours in a professional setup, in a recording studio, of a level of quality that's usable to produce text-to-speech systems. Now, this means that it's probably the highest level of quality for speech recordings to produce speech data. The idea is that in terms of impact, this can be published under a Creative Commons license in terms of the data set, and it will flow into a repository known as Mozilla Common Voice, which language nerds around might know. This is a place where there are so many hours of speech data that's usable for ASR, speech recognition, and speech synthesis. And it doesn't have any Yoruba material today. And so Kola has a team with them. It's lots of really good people, really strong people. I suppose African diaspora all over the world. Some from Stanford, some from elsewhere in the world. The association itself has already got quite a few achievements under its belt. So it's produced a basic text-to-speech system for Yoruba already, and it's collecting, as the name says, names, Yoruba names. The association was born with a project of collecting proper names. So the impact plan for this project we found really excellent. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you about the second. Where is the second? That's Katherine, second project on this list here. So Katherine's plan is similar in terms of the pain that it addresses. She's working on Malawi. In Malawi, you have 10 languages with English used for business and government in general. And so the languages are small groups, small speaker groups, and there's hardly anything in terms of textbooks, news, reports, all of that is published in English. So there's a disconnect between people's functional literacy, which is usually in their local language, and the expected literacy in terms of what material they have access to. And so as a consequence, there's hardly any material, any language tech for local languages. This is what in language technology, in NLP, natural language processing, we call low resource languages. And this is an issue that many researchers are trying to address. And so this in turn creates issues because it limits social growth and social opportunities for very many people. So here, Katherine wants to build multilingual data sets from radio recordings for 3 Malawi languages. So she wants to transcribe 24 hours of radio news which are collected. She already has got an agreement with the Malawi Broadcasting Corporation. And then she also wants to produce data for machine translation. And that's 10,000 sentences of parallel data in those 3 languages and in English. And the goal is to deliver working models in speech recognition and text-to-speech. Also here, Katherine thinks that it's a good idea to deliver this as a Creative Commons data set, and we think too clearly. Katherine, she's a postdoc at the University of Texas. She did her PhD at the University of Cape Town in information retrieval and NLP. And she's developed the first African language data set for information retrieval called Learning to Rank. And as a matter of fact, this data set was also multilingual, and she covered 2 of the 3 languages she wants to work on here. So she's got a good start on this project. Now let me tell you about project number 3. Sorry, clicked once too much. And this is by Felermino Ali. So Felermino is concentrating on language spoken in Mozambique, Emakua, that's got 6 million speakers, which is mostly spoken and has got few written resources. So what Felermino wants to do is he's produced a really good video to explain the ideas that he wants to work on. So he wants to put together, he wants to start from an existing 48,000 parallel sentence corpus that he's got already in Portuguese, which is a language spoken in Mozambique and Emakua, has been published on the Mozambique NLP hub, MozNLP, in 2021. And now he wants to build on top of that. So he would like to spend that research budget on professional translation of news articles that's been written for Voice of America. And in fact, he hasn't been waiting because he's already got an agreement with Voices of America to have 1 million words already. So the idea for the impact here is to disseminate this data set over the Masakani Hub for African languages, which has been mentioned several times in proposals we received. So this is pretty cool. And pay for professional translators to work on this data set. Felermino is at the University of Porto in Portugal and works on AI and linguistics. He's co-authored papers with colleagues of mine at Cambridge on topics of low resource for NLP, low resource issues for NLP. And so we've got 3 really strong projects here. We had a hard time deciding, as you might guess. And in the end, we went for Yoruba names. So it's my pleasure to announce that Yoruba names and Kola, you're the winners of this very first grant from Imminent on linguistic data. Congratulations on that. Do we know if Kola is online with us? Or someone from the Yoruba names team?
Yes.
Hello. Kola?
You should imagine a round of applause now.
Yes. Hi, who's speaking? No.
Hello. Hello,
Hey.
everyone. Hey, it's so exciting. Thank you very much. You've put us on suspense for so long. I can't thank you enough. This is going to help us do a lot of great things. We're very happy. Lack of funding has been an issue with African language technology, and we're very, very excited for the hope and the trust you put in us to be able to deliver and create this work. So on behalf of my team, I want to thank you, and we really appreciate it. Thank you. What a nice surprise.
Thank you. We're really looking forward to get in touch and get going with you. So congratulations again.
Yes.
Congratulations, Kola.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Of course, as you may guess, these were such important projects that we would like to follow what happens and what developments there will be also in the other 2 projects, and we will be able to tell about them on our site and on our next annual reports. If you want, stay in contact, tell us what happens with your research. And now we go to the second subject the second topic of our grants, language economics. Language economics, how to assess the value of investing in languages, translations is really a complex topic. We had quite a few proposals, but in this case, we have an exceptional proposal. And so we are not going to talk about all of the different proposals that we got. We're just going to talk about the one and the only that we think it's important to mention. The goal of the research is complement the T-index by developing new tools capable of identifying emerging markets and opportunities, thus predicting which languages will become more relevant in the future for a specific product or specific country. If you go to imminent.translated.com, you can take a look at the index, how it is now. It will be much more powerful thanks to this research that is will be done by the Economic Complexity Research Group. We have the representatives here that if they want, they can come and talk about what they are doing and what we'll be doing in the next year about this subject. Please tell us your name and what you're going to do now.
Here.
There is the camera.
Okay. First of all, many thanks for this grant. I am really excited and really thank you very much. And here what we are doing is trying to compute which is our best assessment, hopefully to recommend in which language you would like to translate your website if you want to sell something. So if you are in a given country and you want to sell a given product, a specific product in another country, then you have to translate your website in that specific language. And this is not an easy task, but we have some machine learning and complex network tools that we have built in order to address this issue. And in the future, what we are planning to do is to embed also a forecasting tool in this T-index, and so to implement also a forecast and to try to predict will be your market, your best market in the next 5 years. So really excited to be here now. I really thank you very much. And I am looking forward to sharing with you our results. I would like to thank also Luciano Piedronero and Giordano De Marzo, which will work with me in this project. Many thanks once again.
Thank you. Thank you. The improvement at T-index, as Marco in the chat was mentioning, that we expect is the ability of T-index not only to say where is the opportunity now, but where is going to be the opportunity. And this is super exciting, super interesting. No other project was so interesting, and so the grant was given to this project by all means. Sebastian.
Let me now speak about the next category, we're speaking of, nope, not machine learning. Can we go to human-computer interaction? I'm doing the switching. Here we go. Sorry for the shuffling. So human-computer interaction. Why is this important to us? Well, because we believe in the symbiosis between humans and machines. And currently, well, this is proving that it works really well. This is the way that translated works. It's by not putting all its actions in technology, but rather working on the interface between humans and machines. And so the thing that we believe in most is exactly this. It's that we developed the exact right technology to make the work of humans, especially human translators and human linguists, the most efficient possible. This obviously creates a ton of challenges. And in fact, in describing those projects, I'll be telling you about a few of those. So I see you're going through slides, but I'd like the slide with Khetam, Al-Sharu, and Lucia Speccia, if I may. That's my wish. And here we go. That's the right one. Stop. That was right. So I'm going to start telling you about Khetam's project while we get the slide right. So what her and Professor Lucia Speccia want to work on is, well, a well-known pain in the realm of machine translation: critical errors. So neural machine translation, we know, and all machine translation systems at all times produce errors, and a specific form of error is these critical errors. So these are things that literally deface your website if they get published, or can result offensive to people, or that miss a very important part of the information that's trying to be conveyed, and so forth. So this is what we call critical errors. Some of them end up making news, and so it's something that we absolutely want to avoid, obviously. Now, the problem is known. From a research point of view, we know the problem exists, but there's hardly any research specifically on addressing it, measuring it, quantifying it, and then solving it. So we know there are different reasons why critical errors appear. So it comes as hallucinations, inventing, the neural network invents content in the target sentence that doesn't exist in the source. We know that there are critical deletions as well, or infidelities with respect to the source. So currently, this is a phenomenon that is pretty bad, but to some extent, we kind of live with it. Now, if you project yourself into the future, a couple of years, if you increase the scale, if you imagine you increase the scale of the operation of language technology, then the problem becomes even worse. So we have an issue here, because scaling up, and that is what we want to do with technology, scaling up creates a problem that currently is kind of like reasonably minimal, but in the future can become really bad. And so scale by itself is one issue that creates the pain. The second one is that more and more what we want to translate automatically is user-generated content. So that means messages, chats, and stuff like that. And this is an issue because it usually has bad, punctuation, emojis, hashtags, abbreviations, and so forth. And so what this research project is about is building a research program, starting with existing material on a taxonomy of research of critical errors. You have examples on the screen now on this slide of examples of critical errors. It's producing an annotation process, a manual annotation process, and pulling out a labeled data set with critical errors. This should be a solid, a robust start in terms of the quantification of the issue. The team, as I said, is Khetam, who is PhD researcher in translation studies at Imperial College in London, together with Lucia Speccia, who is a professor at Imperial College. Second project in this category is by Dragosh, thank you, Dragosh Ciobanu, who is at the University of Vienna at the Zentrum für Translationswissenschaft, that's the Center for Translation Studies. And so Dragosh says he wants to work on a specific aspect that that creates issues for professional translators. For instance, those who work on MateCat. You have the interface here, the GUI at the right of the slide here. So they essentially do post-editing, right? They receive some machine translation of a text, and then they post-edit it. This is a workflow which is repetitive, and it's cognitively very demanding. The tools that we're using, seen from the future, they're still pretty basic, and they're difficult to improve because the standard that we use is already pretty strong. So there's a specific issue that Dragosh wants to work on. It's what's called the neural machine translation fluency trap. It's what happens when the linguist sees the target, it sounds beautiful, and maybe cognitively they're tired, they've been doing this for hours and hours, and so an error slips in because it's hard for them to, for every single sentence, go and sort of accurately invest 100% of their brains into checking that the content is exactly the same between source and target. And so this is the trap. So that means they might miss accuracy errors because of that, because of this phenomenon. And so Dragosh's solution that he wants to work on has to do with the GUI that we present the translators with, and that is the idea is, in addition to a visual interface, give them an audio interface. So reading the source while they work on the target. They're bilingual, and so this is not an issue from a language point of view, but it should help them. And in fact, Dragosh has some preliminary experiments showing that this improves the quality of translation and doesn't, which was our initial doubt, doesn't slow down the translator doing their work. Okay, and the last project in this category is from Vera Kempe and Nikolai Panayatov from Abertay University in Scotland. So the pain that they're working on, just in one sentence, post-editing is boring. Their background is in psychology of language learning for Vera, and Nikolai in AI and games development with a background in psychology. And so this is the background that they bring in with a very interesting angle to this issue. So there's work that we know in experimental psychology about this state called flow, which developers, software engineers know, scientists, people who need a very high degree of, artists, musicians, need a high degree of concentration when they perform their task. This is a mental state, studied by experimental psychologists, flow. And so Vera and Nikolai are bringing in this idea of flow and ideas from gamification, game design, and UI design principles to use the fact that a brain at work in the state of flow is essentially a prediction machine that matches the expectations a couple of seconds from now with what they're experiencing. And so what they like to do, and what they have done partly already in their lab, is creating or manipulating the task so that carrying out the task feels, performing well feels good, but then performing better than expected feels great. And so they want to manipulate the task that a translator is presented with by maybe working on their expectation by showing a preview or making it look harder than it looks, all in order to build in enjoyment into this task. Okay, this is not easy, obviously, to operationalize in real terms, but they've got experiments that say this might really well work. In this category, the winner that we have pulled out after quite some consideration is Dragosh Ciobanu from the University of Vienna. Congratulations, Dragosh and team. We found the proposal really interesting. We've got some other people that we know of at Groningen who are working on similar topics, and we're looking forward to get started with you. Do we have Dragosh or someone from the team online to maybe tell us about the first few steps that they're going to take, not that they have the good news?
If I'm coming through, okay.
Hey.
Hello, hello everyone.
Hi, Dragosh.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the trust, as my colleagues have said before. So thank you, Imminent, for granting us the opportunity to look into this specific issue. As was mentioned, we were very excited to see that our initial experiments brought benefits to revisers who were using speech technologies, namely text-to-speech, when they were revising the texts in a CAT tool. And it is indeed, as we heard, it's a bit of a shame that a lot of the current CAT tools haven't progressed, or they haven't evolved as other technologies have. And machine translation is the main example, but also speech recognition, speech synthesis. And at the same time, while we are in our work, we are encouraging both our students, but also freelance translators to make the best use of the technologies they have. At the same time, we couldn't help notice that translators really benefit from working with each other and reading each other's texts aloud. And we just started wondering, I mean, how could we replicate this in an online environment? Is it anything we can ask the technology to do to mimic this? So we started our experiments. We got initial encouraging results, I would say, in the case of revision. And also we're looking now forward to experimenting with post-editing, and also to putting our eye tracking lab, which we have just built in Vienna, to good use in order to investigate the cognitive load. Initially, our results, when it comes to revision, didn't indicate increased cognitive load, didn't indicate reduced productivity. So we are very curious to see if this is also mirrored in the case of post-editing. So very much looking forward to this. And again, thank you, Imminent, and congratulations to everyone else shortlisted. Some really super clever ideas and very quirky as well. Super nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Dragosh.
Thank you, and compliments. And then we go to the third subject, which is neuroscience of translation. Super fascinating, how the brain and computers interact while translating, while thinking in a different language. First, we should see the slides now. First, here we are. First proposal that we selected comes from, here we go, comes from Valentina Cuccio and Martina Ardizzi. They come from University of Messina and Parma University. The idea is that the language is embodied in the way and it develops while the body develops. Brains and moving go together in learning languages. But what happens with the second language when you don't use your native language but a different language? What relationship there is between the embodied theory of language? And this is super interesting, and it will be studied by this interdisciplinary group of researchers that we selected as the first of the three proposals. Second proposal is comes from Lonneke van der Plas and Prajit Dar, India Research Institute, Martigny, Switzerland, and Center for Language and Cognition, University of Groningen in the Netherlands. The idea here is that compounding is the use of two words combined to make a meaning, like orange juice. And we see that humans understand compounds much better than machines. For example, olive oil and baby oil, they are a completely different kind of concept. Humans understand it. For machines is much more difficult. The project is about learning more about this phenomenon. And the third, from Giovanni Masala, who is at the University of Kent, is to create a setting in which there are two humans speaking different languages and one polyglot robot who share experiences closely in the joint environment. What happens in this kind of architecture, how the robot will learn, and how humans will interact. These were the three projects, and the winner is Martina Ardizzi and Valentina Cuccio. Thank you very much. Are you there? Are you there? You're not there? Well, I guess you would tell us how happy you are, and you should get your round of applause. Let's go to the...
Eccomi. Here I am.
Here you are. What happens now? Where are you going to start?
Okay, we are going to start very soon, I think. Yeah. Can you see me and you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you first. Thank you all. Also on behalf of Valentina, I think she's here and connected with us. I don't know if you can unmute and open up also her camera. Here she is.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's such a great opportunity for both of us. It's quite an enterprise for joining these two so different perspectives. So the neuroscientific one and the philosophical one, and we try to push further our research interest in the field of the embodiment language of second language. That's totally uncharted territory, at least from this perspective. So we will see how the brain of first native speaker and second language speaker manipulate and resonate in a sensory motor way with novel and dead metaphors. And so to see if also for the second language, we have this kind of embodied nature of our semantic access to the other, to the other languages. I don't know if Valentina wants to say something more.
I just want to thank Imminent and all the people that gave us this great opportunity. So it's really great to be part of this network.
Yeah, it's amazing also to see how many people coming from all over the world join us. So thank you again. We will do our best.
Yeah, Valentina. We thank you, and we thank everybody that wanted to participate and send us the proposals. Again, we are willing to follow and to develop on this beginning of knowledge that we have of your research. Tell us about your developments, even if you didn't win the grant, and we will make the most of this knowledge and talk about this in our annual reports and our site, and look forward to know how you develop. Thank you again. And let's go to the fifth and last subject. Sebastian.
Thanks, Luca. So the last category that we have opened for calls here is machine learning algorithms for translation. And this is, as you can imagine, it's about the core of machine translation technology. We have 3 finalists, and I'm going to start speaking about Andrea Santilli's proposal. So Andrea is a researcher, PhD researcher at the University of La Sapienza in Rome in the Gladia team. He's also an alumnus of PyCampus's AI training school, PySchool. The team around this project, that's 5 students and 1 postdoc and 1 professor, Emanuele Rodola, who is going to supervise this this project. He's a professor and an Ellis Fellow, the pioneer of a field of machine learning called geometric deep learning. The issue that Andrea and Emanuele and team would like to work on is that well, machine translation has this de facto standard, right? It's called the transformer algorithm. That's the name of the neural network that was invented at Google Brain in 2017, and is now the engine of virtually all machine translation systems in the world. The transformer has an issue, however. It is slow, computationally expensive, that is, at outputting target sentences. And one reason why it is expensive is because it does the predictions 1 word at a time, starting from the left and ending at the right of the sentence. It literally does that first word and then the second one, and from that the third one, and so forth. This is what technically is called as, the property is called, it's autoregressive. And this means that you can only go as fast as that, and you can't parallelize things, deep down as you would like. This is an issue that many people have tried to work on. It's a really hard issue. And Andrea and team would like to work on this issue with a bit of a different take than has been tried so far, with some ideas that come from computer vision, where we have some algorithms called incremental parallel inference. So the idea here is that instead of going, from 1 pixel to the next pixel, as would happen in a vision, in an image generation algorithm, we are going to refine what's initially a rough image. We're going to refine it into a fine-grained image progressively. And so behind this idea, when ported to machine translation, there are clever linear algebra tricks that allow you to show, from the start that the cost of doing this refinement operation is bounded by the number of operations that it takes you to do the autoregressive version. So in vision, for instance, we know that this kind of algorithm brings a 2 to 24 times speed up in inference. So this is huge in vision, certainly. And what the team here would like to try and do is see if the same works on machine translation, transformer inference. And then our second finalist here in this category is a project, Multisource speech translation, that's been brought in by Dominik Machacek and Peter Pollack, both from Charles University in Prague. In fact, they had 2 proposals at the beginning, and we asked them to merge it because they were so close. So the setup that they work on is what currently happens in interpretation scenarios, where you have a multilingual meeting between people, and you have human interpreters that carry out the work of listening to whoever's speaking and translating to their native language. And usually you have several interpreters work in parallel because you have a multilingual, set of people around the table. So this is typically what happens at the EU Parliament, but in very many other occasions, political and business as well. So this obviously is kind of a setup that's a bit complicated to deal with, and there's an opportunity for technology that is currently not exploited at all to produce better automated translations, or to produce transcripts, real-time transcripts for people who are hearing impaired, for instance. And the opportunity that goes unused is to listen to first the speaker, but also all the other interpreters. So the idea is that if you listen to just one person and you apply some technology, then the technology would make errors. If you listen to 2 people, then maybe the errors that come from one and the errors that come from the other one kind of cancel, or at least you can guess, what might be right, what might be wrong. And this is an effect that increases if you add the number of sources. So their idea here is make use of these multi-speaker sources to do a better job of speech recognition and of translation as well. Okay, and then the last finalist here, number 3, is a project that's also coming in from Charles University. It's a competitive bunch over there, certainly, by Tomasz. And the issue that Tomasz wants to work on is another one that's well known in machine translation, that's bias. So specifically gender bias. So you have languages which don't have grammatical gender. In fact, if you look up the World Atlas of Language Structures, which is a resource, it's a database that language nerds will be familiar with, that tells you about properties, typological properties of hundreds of languages around the globe. If you look this resource up, it will tell you that most languages in the world actually do not have grammatical gender. And so that means that the type of errors that Tomasz is after is very widespread from a linguistic point of view. The issue happens when you have translation from, say here you have an example on the slide, from a Finnish source where it speaks about cleaners, leaders, teachers, and presidents, where despite the fact that you have no indication of the gender of the subject of the sentence in the Finnish source, when you translate it to English, you have to make a choice because English has grammatical gender. So you need to choose a pronoun. You need to choose between she and he. And as you can see, the issue that comes up is that the machine translation systems learn from spurious correlations that happen in the data, and they choose what's called a bias. They make a choice that's biased. So a cleaner is stereotypically a female, a leader is stereotypically a male, the teacher, again, it's a she, president would be a male. And this obviously makes no use of the grammatical information because it's not there. It makes use of stereotypes. Okay, the issue is pretty prevalent in machine translation, as I said, and we're looking for ways to solve this. The solution that Tomasz would like to work on is called disentanglement in neural network terms. It means taking us apart, sort of separating in a controllable way, separating what is the indication of gender that comes on the one hand from the pronouns, and on the other hand from those stereotypes. Okay, in order to be able to emphasize the first one and decrease the influence of the latter one. And so the method that Tomasz is thinking of here is to work on some specially prepared data set that contains, I would call them traps. So there are situations where the neural machine translation system is sort of made to blunder, if you will, and check what modifications to the architecture can make it blunder less. Okay, I'm done describing these 3 beautiful projects. As you can see, they're all sort of spot on. I think this is the category where it was really one of the categories where it was really hard to make choices. And eventually we've decided to hand over this research grant to Andrea Santilli and team for their work on incremental parallel inference, with the secret hope that they might make the cost of machine translation less and therefore more accessible, so that machine translation and language technology can be made to be can be put at use to a larger number of people. So we'd really like to see these kind of efforts come to fruition. Do we have someone from the team, maybe Andrea, online to say a few words? That'd be beautiful.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, Andrea.
Thank you. I would like to thank all my colleagues that are here, and also Imminent and Translated for this opportunity. And we started working on, we were working on another project in computer vision that used generative models based on transformer. I realized that this idea of parallelize the the machine translation, the generation in this case, could be used also in the machine translation context. So we are really excited to work on this project, and we are looking forward to make machine translation more efficient. So thank you again. Thanks to my supervisor, all my colleagues, and thank you, Translated, for this opportunity.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks, Andrea, and thanks to all the finalists, and at this point to all the participants, all the people who sent in their beautiful proposals. As Luca pointed out, I think we'll be in touch with very many of you.
Thank you again to all participants, to all the people that sent the proposal and let us know how important, interesting, and fascinating is the research that is all around the world happening about languages and machine translation stuff. Thank you again. What do we do now? We are running out of time, and we have one special guest for us to comment on all this. We have connected with us Salvatore Giammaresi. He is a trustee in Imminent. He is really a mentor for all of us. He is the head of localization at Airbnb, and I would like him to comment on what he heard and what he sees in the future of research in localization. Salvo.
Sí. Hello, everyone. I want to say I applaud everyone who is in this event. Your research ideas are inspiring. I want to and all the people who actually got their grants. It's unbelievable what you're putting forward, and we look forward to get the outcome of your work. Innovation in this area is what all companies and industries globally require. The world is open to your innovations, and so I'm delighted from the work that I got from Cola, Dragosh, Valentina, Martina, Andrea, Giordano, everyone. Those ideas are very interesting, and we look forward to get the applications of those ideas. And to everyone who put forward proposals, although you did not win today, I hope you continue with your work. There's all this innovation that we need to get done in this field. So it's been a beautiful evening.
Thank you, Salvo, and thank you to everybody that participated. You were really many more than we expected to follow this event, and I thank you all. Thank all the participants. We are going to write and introduce the new annual report by Imminent in a few months. I invite everybody to follow us on imminent.translated.com. If you connect to our site, you will be able to book your special copy of the annual report and send us feedback. We do this kind of job to have your feedback and to learn from our readers much more than for writing about what we find. What we still have to find is much more important that we already found. As for the chat that has received during this webinar a lot of questions and observations and messages. Thank you all. There are questions we will manage to answer to all of you later. because we are not able to do it in live now, but we assure that everybody will have some contact from us and an answer to the questions that you posted in the chat. And thank you for having done so. Well, this is the end of the webinar. Again, compliments to the winners, and many compliments to those that didn't get the grant. Apply again. Tell to everybody that you think needs to be helped that Imminent and Translated are there to help research in languages and machine translation, because the future for us is very much linked to the way humans will be able to understand each other. And languages, of course, are one of the strategic problems that we need to solve, and one of the strategic opportunities that we have to cultivate, to learn how to communicate between all humans. Thank you all again. Bye-bye.